What's up, guys? Blade Master here, bringing you the final of the three matches that Attila the Great and Achilles from the Agony clan have fought for the Total War YouTubers tournament. So this is the quarterfinals, and in the first match, Attila the Great pretty decisively won with Boya against Rome, and in the second one, Achilles pretty decisively won with Tillis against Rome. So in this final matchup, Attila the Great has taken Tillis and Achilles has taken Boyai. How surprising. Both of them are very competitive players, and both of them have decided to take the barbarian factions, who are obviously the strongest factions, and it's kind of a no-brainer. This is the reason why we saw so many barb rushes in the Dignitas tournament. It's not really the most exciting matches to watch, simply because it kind of ends up in a grind-out fight between swords on swords. But on the other hand, there are many nuances in terms of microplay that kind of goes unnoticed when you see these huge lines, these kind of like noobish looking lines clashing against each other. But there is definitely a lot of good microplay going on, and we saw that in the first match and we saw that in the second match. But what happens in these barb on barb engagements that we see now is that a lot of it either depends on your builds, and a lot of it actually depends on your deployment. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the deployment that Attila has made. He's taken 6 tribal warriors whom he's kept on his kind of like left/middle, and he's brought 2 Oathsworn here, and he's brought 1 Thracian warrior up in the I believe they're going to be kept. They are going to be kept in the main line. Well, that's a very strange decision. He's also kept a Gallo-Thracian infantry and a Celtic warrior behind his line. And that's the same thing here, a Celtic warrior and a Thracian warrior here, but the Thracian warrior is going to be kept behind his main line. And there's another Thracian warrior over here. So the Thracian warriors on the flanks will, I think, do well. But I'm not really sure about this one Thracian warrior. That could be a pretty worrisome hole that could be left in Attila the Great's line. And as we all know, punching holes through a barbarian line is the best way and the easiest way to destroy it. A couple of Levi Freemen whom he initially kept as speed bump units, but seeing as Achilles only has 3 heavy horse and a couple of 3 heavy horse in the center and a couple of heavy horse on his flanks, I think he's instead going to keep them on the sides, which is kind of strange actually, because these 3 heavy horse can actually come in, hit these tribal warriors, and then as we all know, there's a very really effective, and I think that's what Achilles is going for here. He's going to go for the 1-2 punch with the heavy horse charging in, toppling down these tribal warriors, and then using the excellent charge bonus that sword followers have to come in and get a clean uninterrupted charge on some already depleted HP tribal warriors. So let's see how that goes. It looks like, yep, this is going to go perfectly, because this is some perfect timing by Achilles. He's going to charge into 3 or 4 of these tribal warriors, topple them down. He's gone straight through, and now I'm not sure, Attila is kind of scrambling here. He doesn't really know what to do. He's moved out with his Levi Freeman, and now these sword followers are really going to destroy. Oh, these are some axe warriors. I didn't even get a chance to go over Achilles' build. So he's brought some sword followers for sure. He's brought a couple of sword followers. He's brought a total of 6 sword followers from what I recall. He's also brought 1 Oathsworn general. He's brought 4 axe warriors, and he's brought a total of 5 heavy horse. So these axe warriors will actually do a lot more damage than usual, but they are still dying, which is kind of strange. The sword followers as well are just doing really strangely they're not doing a great job. But now heavy horse, now that they toppled over, they're going to come in and get a rear charge on these tribal warriors, but they got heavily depleted by that missile volley from those Levi Freemen. So even though that was perfect timing, and even though that's that sounds like a really good move, and I'm kind of surprised. You can see actually now they're starting to waver. These tribal warriors are starting to waver here, and these tribal warriors are going to start wavering very quickly as well. But in terms of actual damage, it didn't really do too much, and these sword followers didn't really get many kills as well. But these sword followers over here are going to start dropping down, they're going to start dropping down, but they're going to start killing these tribal warriors as well very quickly. Achilles just managed to get in too quickly onto Attila the Great's rear. These Oathsworn over here, the Oathsworn general for Attila, he's not used second wind correct. He's still in the middle of headhunt when he popped second wind, so that means the extra the recharging the batteries is not really going to work. So now that they're fresh, they're going to start dropping. They're going to start dropping after this headhunt drops down. But they have gotten a ton of kills, 97 kills on sword followers and axe warriors, just done brilliantly. Gallo-Thracian infantry, they got a proper charge off, so they will start destroying some of these axe warriors. These Oathsworn over here are also going to do a very good job. These Thracian warriors got a clean charge onto those Oathsworn, but they're going to start dropping very, very quickly. They've already done a ton of damage, Achilles is Oathsworn general. But as for the main engagement, these Thracian warriors and these tribal warriors have actually done quite a good deal of damage. I mean, despite getting rear charged multiple times by those heavy horse, these these sword followers and these, actually a lot of these were axe warriors, that's why. So like a couple of axe warriors were there and they just haven't done too much damage. Sword followers on the other hand have done a ton of damage, and they've killed off a lot of these tribal warriors. Thracian warriors just done brilliantly for Attila the Great. 134 kills. These are one of the most cost-effective cheap infantry, and now they still have that bonus versus cav, which hardly any units have, any melee infantry units have, and they still do. So that makes them even more cost-effective. And they're just going to chase after these Boyai heavy horse, and the sword followers are just going to keep chasing after these tribal warriors. And I don't really know what they were doing, but they are going to destroy them. I think the sword followers will win out in that engagement. These tribal warriors, even they pop shield wall, so they're just going to take forever to die. Tribal warriors over here seem to have done better, and this is just so close. The Oathsworn General for Attila he's popped second win the right way this time, and now they're back to fresh. They've gotten 189 kills, 198 kills on the Oathsworn General for Achilles, and now they're going to fight up against Gallo-Thracian infantry, who have done a brilliant job so far. 80 kills almost on them, and the second Oathsworn for Attila the Great has just done amazing too. 111 kills. They've depleted by quite a few men, but they are killing off these sword followers very, very quickly. And so that's going to be a pretty decisive blow for Achilles, because once these Oathsworn are done, they can come in and rear charge these Oathsworn, provided these Oathsworn, provided these Gallo-Thracian infantry last, but they are not, because they're going to get rear charged by heavy horse, and that's it for those Gallo-Thracian infantry. So that means Achilles has a very firm advantage here. He can come in and rear charge. He really needs to rear charge as soon as possible, and if he does, he can probably get a gen snipe very, very quickly. Oh, General recently died for Attila. This is a decisive blow for Attila, because his general recently died, so that's terrible. Meanwhile, the Oathsworn General for Achilles is hale and healthy. The sword follower, I'm not really sure how they died so quickly. What happened there? I think the heavy horse probably got a couple of rear charges in, and that really depleted them. The other Oathsworn has also died. So what does Attila have left? He's got a lot of these. He's got some Celtic warriors over here. It looks like he's got one full strength Celtic warriors. He's got a couple of tribal warriors, one of whom is pretty depleted, and he's going to get. He's got another tribal warrior that's got around 48 men. On the other hand, this 178 unit Oathsworn for Achilles is just going to do brilliantly, and they're just going to wreck these tribal warriors for sure. Meanwhile, he's also got some full strength sword followers. It definitely looks like it's going to go in Achilles' favor. And let's just put it in cinematic mode, because I think the outcome of this battle, even though it's going to look, it looks quite even, but the Oathsworn is just going to wreck those units, I think, and it looks like they're going to get proper clean charge. Yeah, at the end, the Celtic warriors counter charge, but they're going to get destroyed, because Achilles also came in for a rear charge with his heavy horse, and that's it for these tribal warriors, because they're just too few in numbers, and their morale is starting to drop too, and their morale is pretty low in the first place. Sword followers with the double experience chevron are going to charge into some depleted tribal warriors, and I think the sword followers are just going to do brilliantly there. Now, these sword followers are going to come into Thracian warriors, who've done just a brilliant job to almost a triple experience chevron on these Thracian warriors. Just been killing everything and anything that stood in their way. These heavy horse have finally routed, but they've been a pretty crucial element of Achilles' success so far. These raiding horsemen, on the other hand, have also done a really good job. 51 and 43 kills on some really cheap units, and Attila got some really good rear charges with them. Got some javelins on the back of some sword followers. But I think at the end of the day, the Boyai have actually won out this battle. It's just been a bit too much, too many units or too many Oathsworn. Actually, no. Achilles only had one Oathsworn, so I'm not really sure. I mean, the other Oathsworn, I think what happened was Attila tried to overload one flank with two Oathsworn, but he probably should have kept them more in the center so that he could hold his line a bit better. But all in all, you can say whatever you want. This is an excellent, incredibly close battle between these two heavyweights. And I think, it's congratulations to Achilles. He moves on to the semi-finals of the Total War YouTubers tournament. Look at these Oathsworn with 400 kills. What kind of beasts are they? Good God. Those Levi Freeman with single experience chevron, again, doing really well, holding out those sword followers. But again, just a bit too much for Boyai. No, sorry, a bit too much for Attilas. So well played to Achilles, very well played to Attila, but unfortunately Attila has, this is the end of Attila's journey in this tournament. Let's take a look at the stats. Raiding Horsemen did quite well. Oathsworn did okay. I mean, they did well. This other Oathsworn just didn't do too much. the tribal warriors, some of them got wrecked, and I think that's what I was talking about earlier on in the video, when that 1-2 punch was pretty decisive from Achilles, just charging in with his heavy horse, immediately supporting with sword follows, and then after pulling through with his heavy horse. And that's not, if before anyone tries to start complaining that was pulled through, absolutely not, because he charged them, he toppled them down, and once they were down, he just pulled through the unit. There's no better way to describe that. But it's not one of those. I hate it. I just so hate it when people start complaining that, oh my god, you should never do that because that's like you're exploiting the game. No, you're not, because they toppled those units down. So obviously they have a clear path to move through. And that's what he did. Once he did, he just managed to rear charge those Oathsworn. And this really proves that, Boyai can actually be a very good counter to this heavyweight Tillis faction, because once you use if you use your heavy horse correctly, then, they can actually do wonders. Now, using these Levy Freemen and putting them on the flanks was not really a good move. That's what I was wondering at this beginning, when Attila initially put those Levy Freemen as a speed bump unit. That was a good move, but then he moved them back, which gave these three heavy horse a clear target to just charge through, and that's what he did for those tribal warriors. And you can see the difference in numbers or number of kills that these tribal warriors had: 104, 137, and 118 on 3, whereas 17, 41, and 24 for the other 3. So clearly something went wrong, and I think that's what happened. These three heavy horse just charged straight into them. The Gallo-Thracian infantry did okay, just not very cost-effective units though in general. The Celtic warriors did okay too. No, actually one of those Celtic warriors just didn't do too much. As for Achilles, his sword followers did a brilliant job. I think, again, coinciding with the 3 heavy horse that charged in, you can see some pronounced number of kills for 3 of his sword followers: 152, 212, and 194 for 3 of them, whereas 119, 116, and 60 for the other 3. Meanwhile, these axe warriors, I believe these axe warriors were also helped to just try and whittle down these tribal warriors, which is a good move because these axe warriors have heavily armor-piercing weapon damage. But at the end of the day, they just weren't good enough. So that's it, guys. That's the end of this battle. Of course, I think the MVP to this match was the Oathsworn General for Achilles, who just did so well. 412 kills. That's chariot level kills. These were basically human elephants. That's how many kills they got. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this battle. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.